I start this video with a confession of sorts. I spent an entire month in Las Vegas, and I never set foot in a casino. I didn't drop a coin into a slot machine, I didn't see a show, or visit the Strip. But what I did have was the time of my life. I looked out over a volcanic crater. I walked through an atomic caldera, and I survived 2 flats in the middle of Death Valley. In my mind, and maybe only my mind, that's way better than losing $400 at Caesar's Palace. I guess Robert Frost was right. When 2 roads diverge, try to take the one less traveled. That philosophy would serve me well on my way back to Iowa. Drax and I woke up Sunday morning in a pine forest just to the east of Williams, Arizona. While we weren't exactly out in the wilderness, we were a good 300 yards from the nearest other camper, which suited me fine. It also gave Drax a chance to stretch his legs without a leash, not to mention enjoy a good game of fetch.
Are you ready? Oh boy, you're ready. You're ready. Hey. Get the stick! And there he goes.
From here, we went back to the interstate and headed north to Flagstaff, the only real destination I had in mind between Las Vegas and Iowa. After that, it was all going to be a surprise. Would I head east through New Mexico through White Sands, or would I head north through Canyonlands and go up through Utah? In the end, the deciding factor was the ever-present heat wave gripping the southwest, and a road sign for Sunset Crater Volcano National Monument, a volcano just to the north of Flagstaff. With that, the map book for New Mexico was put away for another time, and we made our way north. The trip to Sunset Crater was kind of a turning point in our trip. While I enjoyed my visit there, I didn't stay very long either. And don't get me wrong, this is a remarkable place and well worth exploring, but is it on the road less traveled? Nope. Not a chance. Maybe I was spoiled after experiencing the vast solitude of Ballarat. Or it could have been culture shock after having so much of Central Nevada to myself. But I suddenly felt like I was in a competition with a bunch of other people to try and enjoy this place. And, well, that wasn't enjoyable at all. Now, of course, you could say I'm just an old curmudgeon who doesn't like people, but you better say that after you get off my lawn, if you know what's good for you. Whatever the true reason, instead of going on to the Wupati or Wukaki Pueblos, I followed a hunch and headed towards some distant painted cliffs on an unnamed desert road. After a few miles, I found myself in a red Martian landscape with striped mountains out of a children's coloring book. If I was looking for solitude, I certainly found it. In the 4 hours I spent wandering through this desolate, sun-beaten terrain, I only saw one other vehicle, and maybe a small handful of houses. Even the wind sounds lonely here. I emerged from the desert north of a town called Cameron, and about 40 miles north of Sunset Crater on the highway and on the other side of the Little Colorado River. I vaguely remember crossing its dry riverbed, but it wasn't very memorable in the scheme of things. I wager my driving distance between the 2 points was closer to 100 miles, but it was well worth it. One of the less welcome visitors to the West this summer has been forest fires, and I saw several of them on my trip. Most of the clouds you see in these videos aren't clouds at all, but smoke. It was out of this smoke that I first caught a glimpse of a towering finger of stone off in the distance. This 1,400-foot giant volcano core just to the north of Cayenta is called Agathla by the Navajo and is a sacred spot to the members of the Navajo Nation. It formed here some 25 million years ago and is a gateway to Monument Valley further north. It's easy to see why this place would have a special meaning. Even in a land where you quickly run out of superlatives to describe the beauty around you, this place is special. Of course, Monument Valley is no slouch either. These sandstone structures are the remnants of the vast seabeds and later deserts, and then river basins that once covered this place, turned to stone, and were eroded by time, leaving the centurions of the desert behind to stand watch. The sun was starting to go down, and there was no way I was going to make it to Canyonlands before dark. I took advantage of the consistent 3G service throughout Navajo Nation to do a quick search and saw what looked like a possible free camping spot for the night just up the road at a place called Mexican Hat. It wasn't until I got there and found the place empty that I realized just how lucky I was. I will never have a better camping spot than this one. I don't consider myself to be a spiritual man, but between everything I had seen that day, the natural beauty surrounding me that night, and the chants of the Navajo on KTNN radio, I couldn't help but have goosebumps. I found myself up with the sun the next day and ready to move on to our next adventure. I'd planned on heading straight for Canyonlands, but passed the sign for the Valley of the Gods National Monument along the way. Well, there was no way I was passing up a place called Valley of the Gods, so I made a quick U-turn and headed back. The place lives up to its name. The red and pinks of the western half of the valley seem to give way to a more beige and white sandstone as you head east along a meandering gravel road that eventually dumps you out onto Utah Highway 263 and the craziest state road I've ever seen. This seemingly endless, straight stretch of black asphalt suddenly turns into a narrow gravel road that switchbacks its way up a white sandstone cliff before resuming its long, straight paved ways. The speed limit drops to 15 miles an hour, and you might want to take those blind corners very carefully. It's a long way down. Once I got to the top and was maybe 2 miles from the beginning of the gravel portion, I encountered some poor guy driving a big RV bus heading in the opposite direction. Unless that thing was going to sprout wings, or maybe he was going to make a 300-point turn, there was no way he was going to make it to the bottom in one piece. We finally got to the southern entrance of Canyonlands National Park, only to find a bunch of no dog signs. No dispersed camping, no overland trails, no nothing if you had a dog with you. Needless to say, we split, and we continued on our journey. I was pretty beat and probably dehydrated as well, so we found a place in the La Salle Mountains and had camp set up by mid to late afternoon. Drax relaxed in the red dirt while I played some radio and cooked dinner. We were both out before the sun went down. By now, we were on the last day of our adventure, and I had one more item that I wanted to hit, the Shafer Trail. Shafer Trail starts in Canyonlands, but branches off at the edge of the park into the White Rim Trail, a serious 4x4 adventure, or Potash Road, a low-maintenance trail that takes you out of the park and into Moab, Utah. So after grabbing some more Gatorade, some water, and a couple of Diet Mountain Dews, we were on our way out of Moab and back into Canyonlands. The entrance to Shafer Trail is maybe 100 yards past the entrance gate, but you still need to pay to get to it, and I'm okay with that. If it helps to preserve places like this, no matter how crowded they seem, it's still worth it. Besides, I've watched half a dozen videos about this place in the last few months, and it was definitely on my bucket list by now. White Rim may have to wait for another day, but not Shafer. The crazy switchbacks at the beginning of the trail did not disappoint, as we navigated our way down a road similar to the one we went up just a day ago. By the time we reached the bottom, I was ready to air the tires down and start to make our way back to civilization. The bone-jarring trail kept you from enjoying the scenery too much, but I stopped a few times to enjoy it. Nope, no doubt about it, we weren't in Iowa anymore. We stopped at Thelma and Louise Point and tried to soak it all in. Not just the trail, but our entire odyssey that would be over when we got back to Moab. 1 month plus of hard work, high adventure, and of course, family, all coming to an end. All that was left now was the miles of interstate highway between us and the pile of bills awaiting me in central Iowa. Well, not quite. We did make one more stop at a dog park in Georgetown, Colorado. One final adventure to put a bow on Doggo's vacation. Believe me, after putting up with my desert shenanigans, he earned it.
Drax man!
Drax and I would really like to thank all of you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed what you saw, think about hitting the like button and the subscribe button because it really helps us with YouTube's algorithms. We're a new channel, you know, and we need all the help we can get. So anything you can do to help us out, we appreciate it. Until our next video, remember to check us out on Instagram or follow us on Odyssey. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.